Come on, be honest with yourself. Come on, admit it. You're like me. At some point during this week, you had to look at your watch, your calendar, your computer, your phone, and you had to say, what day is this? I'm like it too, because Christmas on a Wednesday was weird. And then we had yesterday, which was weird. And now we have a Friday, which is awesome, but again, weird. And it's a big travel day, by the way. So if you're headed to the airport or coming back or anything like that, just, bring some extra patience because people are trying to get back before the weekend. Or it'll happen on this coming Sunday when people are trying to squeeze in every extra vacation time they can before they have to get back to work on Monday. Whatever. Here we are. This is all I'm focusing on. It's Friday. Welcome to it. Motoring through the last few days of 2024. Can you believe that? Flying by. What a year. Extra Fighter Wicked Radio. Appreciate you so much. Lot to cover today. It's about hard truths, I guess. I'm just like you. I go on last night. I was doing a bunch of stuff in and out around the house, and I come back and I'm like, why? Good God Almighty. Everything in the news, especially on X, where this whole thing originated, the whole world seems is pissed off at Vivek Ramaswamy. And I had to go, well, why? What happened? Went to his original post. We'll go through all of that, what he's talking about. I think it comes down to the guy promised he was going to talk about hard truths. He's not a politician. He's part of Doge, working with Elon and Trump in government efficiency. And a big part of that is in the tech industry, which is where he comes from, the biotech industry. What he said pissed off a lot of people, but maybe it needs to be said. We'll go over that, as well as what do you think about the idea of making Canada America? Just like with Trump, he always starts off with a far-fetched idea that doesn't come to fruition, but something just under that, just short of that, comes to fruition. And now there are serious people talking about annexing Canada and breaking down that border and making us one giant Western civilization powerful state, even more so, using both of our resources. The idea sounds really good the more and more I talk about it, but I'll tell you who's at Mar-a-Lago actually today to try to start the narrative and getting that thing happening. And also, we're going to cover this, and I was so glad to see this. Probably something I never would have even seen if it wasn't like a weird schedule post-holiday vacation time. It's not just you, and it's not just me. Those frickin' LED headlights on highways, any road, are a problem. It's not just you or me, because we're getting older. I'm putting you in that category too. It doesn't seem like it's an important thing. I'm telling you it is. We got to stop these LED headlights. Anyway, all right, let's get to it. And this is going to get complicated, but I'm going to try to break it down. Because whenever I look at news, this is what I do. Whenever there's a news story happening or major newsmakers are fighting back and forth and there's a narrative happening, I always this is how I figure it out. I look at it like, as a communication person, and who coaches this stuff, I look at it as if two of my friends are arguing, and I try to figure out who's saying what first, what started it, this and that. That's how I process things. That's how I understand it. So, Vivek Ramaswamy, who I'm a big fan of, I always have been, ever since he came on the scene. I didn't want him to be president. I actually wanted him to be exactly what he's going to be, an advisor in a very important function to this new administration to help make America great again, right? In the new coming administration. And he is. It's going to work hand in hand with Elon. We're Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Perfect. That's where he is. He had said, and these people leave clues. When they say what they're going to do, they mean it. When he was running for president, he made all kinds of bombastic, outlandish seemed statements to try to get attention. You kind of do that, right? To put himself on the map, and it worked. He had said the whole time, Vivek did, that he was going to talk about hard truths. I mean, he said it was over a year ago, started saying, I'm going to say a lot of things that people aren't going to be happy with, but they need to be said to fix the broken system in government and in bureaucracy we have right now. So why are we surprised? I'm not exactly sure. But it seems like everybody's pissed off at him. Everybody. The tech people. Just hardworking Americans. The MAGA movement somehow is broken in half on this. And now all of a sudden you've got this whole other movement that's popped up that says zero immigration, none whatsoever, none. Don't let anybody in the country, like, close the doors. You can't listen, everybody wants to fix the immigration system we have now. You can't have an open border. That's an invasion. You also can't have zero immigration, like nobody coming into the country. That's so unbelievably stupid. I can't believe there's actually a movement where people want zero immigrate. You can't have that. You need a new workforce. The difference is, and what he's talking about here is, you need to bring in people that benefit the country and want to be here and are proud Americans, or they're working their way. That's the difference, and that's not what we have now. It's not what he's saying, okay? All right, 3 steps back. Let's break this all down and hopefully simplify it, because here's how this whole thing started, because it's not going away. And maybe it shouldn't, to be honest with you. Not going to read the whole post because it's long, but I'll try to do the Cliff's Notes version of it. He started off by saying yesterday afternoon, the reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers. Engineering is important. It's over Native Americans, just hardworking Americans. It's not because of a American IQ deficit. It comes down to the C word, culture. See, this is what piqued my interest, because American culture is what I'm into. Not so much the tech industry, not government, not politics. I'm into how it boils down and trickles down to American culture, and that's what he's talking about. And he, once again, starts talking about the hard truths. Now, I got to explain one thing first that I had to look up as well, because I'm not in the tech industry. What he's talking about for foreign-born engineers that come into the country is this H-1B visa program. The H-1B visa. You're probably going to see that as well for the first time. A lot in discussion of that whole thing. It's a program. There was a tech industry deficit to have those kinds of people, coders, programmers in Silicon Valley in the tech industry. So a lot of them were brought in, a lot of them from India. He's completely honest about that, because there was a deficit. Like any bureaucratic program, that deficit got abused. So this H-1B visa thing became a thing where once you're in for a certain tech company and you come into that program, you can't go to another one. So that's unfair. It's also being used by a lot of the lobbyists with these countries, with these companies, to lower wages. So you're pricing out American workers. So it was an idea to try to fix the system because we need to compete in the tech industry, and it got abused. That's what he's talking about, right? The part that pissed everybody off was this, where he talks about culture. I happen to agree with him, I'm going to tell you right now. The guy said he's going to talk about hard truths, and he is. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long. Anybody want to argue with that? Just that statement alone, that we've venerated, that we've highlighted mediocrity over excellence for far too long. Do you think we have? Oh, of course we have. Of course we have. Idiocracy. Remember that movie, that comedy from the 90s? That was absolutely true. The dumbing down of America is a real thing. It's true. But this is what's pissed people off the most, because they're like, well, I know, that's not true. You're just putting down American culture. No, he's trying to better American culture. How about that? Then he gets into all the examples. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ. The jock over the valedictorian. Won't produce the best engineers. Again, a hard truth to hear and to see somebody write that. But he's right. You know he is, if you're talking about the engineering field. This is where people are making fun of him. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zack and Slater over Screech by Saved by the Bell. This is where people make fun of him, because he makes Corey, I guess he was the curly-haired normal kid from Boy Meets World, over Screech, the dork from Saved by the Bell. Corey isn't exactly the highest example of just a, regular American dude. Blah, 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 blah. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. He's right about this, though, and he's right. We have done it. Anybody that, be honest with yourself, and this is all he's getting to. Any kid, just because of our culture and the way it is, right? We didn't write the rules, it's just the way it is. Any kid that from an early age on was able to throw a ball, hit a ball, do anything on the field, pretty much had an easy path. You're a superstar, and you get your way through. It's the way it is. Whatever. I like sports too. But we've always kind of valued that over the kid that is the math engineer or the valedictorian, like he said. It's just the way that it has been. And what he's doing is explaining how that goes. And be honest with yourself, honestly. It's the old joke, and hopefully this doesn't get offensive. It's the old joke that we've all heard, we've all seen, maybe even said yourself for decades now, okay? Let's get out of the engineering field for a second and talk about, like, classical music. We've always said you look at any symphony orchestra or anything. It's, oh, the Asian kids, they're automatically amazing. Asian kids, amazing pianists, amazing violinists, right? You actually think that's DNA? No, it's because in their family culture, it wasn't TV. They were practicing, fair or not, like 7 hours a day. That's how that happens. It's a different focus, which is all I think he's getting at. That's all it is. It's hard truths. But are you going to actually tell me that that's not true? That that's not actually a thing that, right or wrong? I'm not here to decide. But the reason why people are mad at him because he made fun of some American culture. Well, in some examples, maybe we need to change that a little bit, and we do need to get better. Because yes, sorry, I'll say it too, we have gotten dumber. Absolutely we have. The dumbing down of America is real. We have gotten lazy. As opposed to, all right, American culture in the 50s or 60s. Absolutely we have. We need to get better in all areas. Doesn't mean we have to put down one to make it for the other. And by the way, this isn't anything new. He has said this in previous speeches about this, again, going back to this H-1B visa program, where they've imported a lot of foreign workers in the tech industry because the tech industry said we have a shortage in that area of American workers. The system's been abused, but he said that too.
First of all, a lot of the people who have come here through the H-1B system would tell you, as I would, that it is just a broken system no matter who you're seeking to serve.
Yeah, he's always said it. This isn't a surprise to anybody. Granted, the guy's given a lot of speeches over the years, but he also said this.
Consent should only be granted to migrants who benefit America, and those who enter without consent must be removed and must be punished. And I think that those are three fair principles around which to redesign an immigration system. And number two is important. If there are immigrants who are going to benefit America, I'm obviously partial to that as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. If there are immigrants who are going to benefit the United States of America, that should be the standard that we actually use. It just turns out that's not actually the standard we're using today.
So it's interesting too, because this is one of those statements he made where it made a lot of headlines and a lot of waves and a lot of discussion. In fact, he even said last night, he goes, okay, back to real work, LOL. But it combines so many different things, and all of them controversial. American culture, this H-1B visa system, which obviously is broken and needs to be fixed. But the reason why it's there is because there's a shortage, say the tech people. And he talked about immigration, and it's all tied into one, so everybody's mad at him. But these are hard truths. The bottom line is, and this is how I look at it, is that the guy wants the best for America and American workers. How this got twisted into, we need zero immigration to help out the American worker, that's not going to help the American worker because the economy would collapse. You're not going to find anybody that wanted to close the border faster than me and fix the immigration system. But zero immigrant, I don't understand you people at all. I just don't get you. I don't understand that at all. We're closed. Nobody can come in. Really? So let's say under zero immigration, that means a highly qualified tech engineer from Germany couldn't come to this country too? Because that's what you're talking about. Really? Zero immigration. That makes no sense. Anyway, keep working, Vivek. He told you. He told us all. Hard truths are coming. Believe them when they tell you, because that's exactly what he said. This may be a hard truth, but it's not so far-fetched now, is it? Canada, the 51st state. All right, that's not really going to happen. But what's going to happen is a new, invigorated partnership between the Great White North and the United States of America. Wouldn't that be amazing? This is how it all starts. Here's another thing. It's kind of like our theme today. You know, Vivek left clues in what he's talking about with hard truths. Trump, when did Art of the Deal come out, that book? Because everything that he does that seems to shock everybody, especially in the media, has outlaid exactly how he does things. Every single time he said how he does it. He even outlined how he negotiates and how he did. Trump will throw out the most outrageous idea, seemingly, at first, knowing he's probably not going to get that. But because it causes so much discussion, he gets something just short of that. So here's how it started. Remember, he was talking to Justin Trudeau, who everybody hates. He was just an awful, awful leader. He's running Canada into the ground. When he met with Justin, he didn't like what he had to say. So he started mocking him online. It's Trump's way. It's what it is. Started calling him Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada, right? Which everybody laughed at, but it got the discussion going and it got the wheels turning. Well, wait a second here. We're never really going to be able to make Canada a state, obviously. But what if we made them a partnership where we broke down all the barriers and we started to figure things out? How unstoppable would North America be? It's got to get Trudeau and the socialists out of the way in Canada. But how amazing would that be as a world Western power if we increased our partnership with a country that's right up to the north? Well, you know who got a hold of this idea? You probably know him like I do as Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary. I didn't know he was Canadian. I thought he was from New England, whatever. But he's Canadian, so this hit home to him, apparently. And he wants to talk to Trump about it. So Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary's going to Mar-a-Lago today to start the narrative. In fact, he said it.
Give a common currency, figure out taxes across the board, get everything trading both ways, create a new, almost EU-like passport. I like this idea, and at least half of Canadians are interested. The problem is the government's collapsing in Canada right now. Nobody wants Trudeau to negotiate this deal. I don't want him doing it for me, so I'm going to go to Mar-a-Lago. I'll start the narrative.
See, that's what always happens, though. See, I'll start the narrative. That's where the ego comes into play, but that's okay. Tell me a business or entrepreneurial leader that doesn't have an ego like that. I'll start the narrative. I'll do it. But you need that. You know, it's kind of like Vivek. You want the smartest people. Listen, this country always, from the beginning, from the founding fathers, had the most successful entrepreneurial spirit, young Americans involved with forging the country ahead, and that's what's happening now. That's why when you hear in the news or anybody saying, it's like, oh, why are business people sticking their nose in politics? Well, because that's what the system was actually designed to do. Some of the smartest, most successful Americans working to make this country better. Not career politicians. That was never the idea. Nancy Pelosi serving in Congress for 1,010 years. That's not the idea. The idea from the founding fathers was people like Vivek, Elon, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, whoever it is that love this country, to want things to get better, getting involved and offering that idea. That's what happens. So whenever you hear the pushback about successful Americans trying to improve our country, just ignore those people. Like when a media talking head says something like that, they're idiots because they don't want to fix the system. Things get better when smart people get involved. And you may not like the guy because he is an egomaniac, but Mr. Wonderful is a smart entrepreneur. So him to get, we want entrepreneurs like that who have access to somebody like Trump that has his ear. Like imagine if you or I had Trump's ear to be able to get through to him. I mean, we did in the way we vote, but if you had a chance to say something to Trump, wouldn't you try to offer suggestions to try to make the country better? That's all these people are doing. That's all Mr. Wonderful's doing as he goes to Mar-a-Lago today. That's what you want. You may not like the idea. I may not like the idea what comes out of it, but you want successful people contributing what they can because they love this country and they love North America. Would you doubt that Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, loves the country? I wouldn't. Would you doubt that Vivek loves this country? I wouldn't. Or Elon? Of course not. They don't have to do stuff like this to get involved. Well, billionaires shouldn't be talking to politicians. Why not? Maybe the politicians should be listening to the billionaires because they're actually successful and entrepreneurial and they know how to fix things and get them efficiently running again. That's all that's happening. And all these hard truths we're all upset about, apparently. Everybody pissed off at Elon and pissed off at Vivek and maybe even this guy going to Mar-a-Lago today. It's because they're hard truths that need to be talked about and discussed to make things better because stuff is broken right now in every possible way. But it's getting better. Here's the next thing we got to fix. Not just you. It's not just me. Years I've said it to anybody that'll listen. Something is frickin' off with these LED headlights, these frickin' blinding headlights. And yes, it's true, I'm older now by the day. Yes, it's true. I probably need reader glasses anyway. I mean, I'm like this. I'm putting it off. I'm one of those people that needs reader glasses, and I don't want to do it because I think that's the end. But I'll read things like this. I'm like holding it off like this. Lauren will always tell me, you're going to run out of arm. I'm telling you, you need to go to the eye doctor. Yeah, I get that. But there's something more, and I know you know what I'm talking about. The auto industry has made these LED headlights blinding. And my kids will always say, they're fine. It's just because you're old. Yeah, I get that. Whatever. True. But this is also true. I'm telling you, this has to be fixed. They're using LED headlights because overall it's cheaper for them to make, right? And they'll sell it as the idea that it's safer for the driver on the road. But if you face these things and they're blinding you, that's not safe whatsoever. I happened to stumble upon this, which I probably never would have found yesterday if this wasn't that weird post-Christmas middle of the week, heading into Friday kind of thing. Stumble upon a video of an interview that the CBC, I don't know why things are coming up Canada today, but they are. The CBC did about these headlights because they're a problem worldwide. And they found this guy. His name is Daniel Stern, like the actor. I guess he edits a tech industry journal about car lighting or something like this. Whatever. He's an expert in the field. He agrees with us. These frickin' headlights are a problem.
It's not in everybody's heads. It is real. Headlights are getting brighter. They're getting brighter, they're getting smaller, and they're getting bluer. And all three of those things increase a particular kind of glare. It's called discomfort glare. And it does exactly what the name suggests. It makes us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, thank you. Because that's the first step to fixing this. We got to get rid of these fricking things, or at least acknowledge that they're a problem. I knew it wasn't just me. Say you were right the whole time. So use that example when you're talking to your family about these headlights. Freaking dangerous, man. Make America great again. Make Canada great again. Make these headlights great again. Anyway, hey, it's Friday. We're on the cusp of a weekend. Make it a wicked awesome weekend. The takeaway, you hear all of this chatter online or whatever it is, and you hear people arguing and people mad at other people telling you hard truths in the news. Just know the reason why they're speaking hard truths is because they want to make this country better, and that's the most important thing. And the second takeaway, as always, is don't take any crap from anybody, especially on the weekend. Have a wicked awesome weekend. Audio podcast available. It'll be up in about a half hour if you're watching this on a replay later on X or on Facebook. Have a great weekend. Who the heck knows what's going to happen this weekend? But it's going to be busy travel time, too, as well. But with all that said, enjoy it. Be safe. We'll talk to you in a couple of days.